Today, we are going to be making another attempt to make it down the Ashlands portion of the path. Bum bum bum. And I'm going to be talking about Path of Magic Endgame and my philosophy behind it, while probably getting ganked and showing off some mechanics. At this point, I've tried to make this run on multiple occasions, and I've died. And each time, it gets harder, because every time I run, I spawn more monsters, and then they don't go away. So, each time I die in this run, it's gonna get even harder. But you know what? What better way to show off the Ashlands and playtest these other features? So, I'm gonna get started by actually trying to begin, because what basically happened last time is that we discovered that the bubble blocking only works within a certain range. And that was actually a purposeful change I made at some point to try and prevent players from skill training with it, and that is a pointless thing to try and stop. It's unstoppable. So I got rid of it, and now bubble blocking should be more reliable. And as you can see, I've tried this a couple times. The path is strewn with my corpses, and this should be fantastic for a nice, lovely little corpse run buff that'll make our time easier. We've already dealt with this before, and luckily I now have a buff here, so I should be able to survive. But I learned my mistakes last time. No trusting starred monsters. Never be friends with a starred monster. You just can't trust them. You really can't. They say that they're just gonna hit you once lightly and everything's gonna be fine. You know? Everyone says that, but nah. That's not really what happens. They're lying to you. They're gonna kill you in one hit, and you're not gonna get your block bubble. You don't have enough health to survive. Never trust a 2-starred mob in particular. They're the worst. They're the worst defenders of them all. And yeah, it's true, actually. Good morning, Constantine, by the way. Constantine says that I should ride one of the Asksmen, which actually would be an interesting way to try and handle it. But for me, like, at this point, I've made a game for myself out of trying to make it down the path using bubble blocking and tower shield mechanics. So, look at this. In my efforts to make a video intro, I forgot to put my Fenring hood on. Now, let's see. We got a bubble block, so we can take one hit. And there we go. Refresh our bubble shield. And I'm going to be doing that every chance that I get. I learned my lesson last time. I really did. And I think it's going to be okay this time. The problem is that there's this one part of the path where there's like 3 Fallen Valkyrie, and they, on Path of Magic, Fallen Valkyrie can immobilize the player. So last time I got to that point, and then I proceeded to get completely ganked because I got immobilized 3 times in a row. But who knows? I'm just gonna kind of wing it, and at this point, I think I'm alright. So I'll start talking about the intention with more of the boss mechanics and the endgame in general in Path of Magic. Because the idea on Palm is to... We've sort of separated the progression, right? So you have killing bosses, and it's not what you do. You do boss chests, because the bosses themselves are way, way, way harder than what you're used to. I've overbalanced the bosses in many ways, so they're stronger, they have a time limit, all sorts of stuff that has made it so that... Ooh, this bastard. All sorts of things that have made it so that the bosses, you just can't kill them straight away. Like, you can try to, but it doesn't go well. And why do I even do that? Because I believe that the bosses cause a lot of problems in Valheim. And okay, like now, for example, I am 1 tick away from getting immobilized, basically. I don't want that, so I'm gonna try. This is the part. This is the crazy part where there's a bunch of Fallen Valkyrie, like right ahead of the path. Yes, I remember. Because I died here multiple times. You see this? Leave me alone! I'm just gonna grab another corpse run real quick here. Thank you. Yeah, see, this is the problem. Basically what happens is that anytime you have a path in Valheim, there's this phenomena that occurs. You gonna attack me? Thank you. And essentially, each time you run down the path, it pulls monsters down the path, and that makes the monster travel a little bit away from its, let's say, original zone. And that allows the game to then spawn more monsters. So if you keep running down the same route in Valheim, you'll actually create an accumulation of different monsters. And right now what I'm doing is I'm trying to run the entirety of the Ashlands path to get to the end of it, so I can show the end game areas on Path of Magic. And I have all these ghosts from where I died before. Oh, that's hilarious. I'm learning my lessons now, though. Whoa, whoa, Miss Valkyrie, you are incredibly fast. And you're 2-star? Oh, come on. I don't like that at all. All right. I'm learning my lessons. Though. I remembered the gap this time, and I have more health, so I don't have to be so afraid. Whereas before, I was afraid of getting killed by falling, but now I know that that's completely fine. I am not thrown off by the gap, and I am endorsing my stay alive and run away strategy, and it seems to be valid for the moment. Although I do have a lot of chaos hot on my tail. I'm just gonna wing it. That was bad. Oh god. Yeah, see, now I lost my rested buff, which means I probably didn't get a faster one than I should have earlier. See, this is fine until the Fallen Valkyrie, until it entangles me, this is fine, but the moment I get entangled, this gets a lot more complicated. So hopefully I can just outrun the Valkyrie, or it'll get distracted by something. And now I'm gonna take advantage of this. This vulture is gonna rebuff my bubble. Come on, you can hit me. You can do it, I believe in you, come on. He's having a hard time, actually. There we go, thank you. That's all I was asking for. Nothing too crazy. I would appreciate a rested buff, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. It is what it is. I also would have been smarter to bring some kind of potion or something, but all I did is bring this vulture. He's now my friend. And where I'm running to is these 2 areas I want to show you. I have 2 kind of ideas for things to do to make the end game in Path of Magic more enjoyable. And there's actually a couple ideas I want to try out. One of the main things is to do these sort of missions, right? I talked a bit about that in the previous situation. But for now, what I want to focus on are the areas, basically. So there's 2 areas. One is this Black Forest Island that I want to do a city experiment on. So I'm basically going to invite people to just build to their heart's content there, and we can set up some kind of city where we're not like worried about lag and these things, because the whole place will be like safe, if that makes sense. It won't be a place that we do combat, and it's its own island. So the path will go up to the island, and then that can be the city area where people can build and do whatever. But you don't have to go into it, if that makes sense, because I need to manage the lag. But I want to have a place on the server where people can just build stuff, and it can be like intense, and it's okay. Because right now I've separated all of the building and split it up and like encouraged players to build away from each other for lag reasons. And I think that there's some value to just having an area where I say, screw it, you can do whatever you want, build a super town, build whatever, and we'll see how it goes. But that'll be the first thing we see. And then after that island, there is Fader's Island. And Fader's Island, oof, that's a whole other thing. And I'm going to talk more about that as well. Because there's two ideas, basically. There's the city island, which is just an area for builders. Basically, I might build some things, set up some kind of suggestive plot or something. I don't know. But then in addition to that, there's Fader's Island, which is this experiment I'm working on, where there's basically like a central town thing where some bases are that players are safe. And while they're working on those bases, they collect trophies. And then once you get every trophy in the game that's not a boss trophy, so I'm talking about, you know, boar trophies, deer trophies, fallen Valkyrie trophies, Morgan trophies, serpent trophies, bone maw trophies. Once you get every single one of those trophies, then you can mount them in these special areas, and it will summon Fader. So there's this whole mechanism to use all of the trophies to summon the end boss. Make sense? And I want to do this experimental area so that I can test this mechanic, because it's not just like a normal area to fight Fader in. It's a huge circular path that goes around that town sort of area. Not the town island, but the other town. You'll see what I'm getting at, but for now, I'm gonna rebubble here. Thank you. See, now we get reliable rebubbles, because I figured out what was going on. It was that I was more than 12 meters away, and that was causing issues. And by the way, if you are ever trying to escape from things, I can give you some runner's advice as a person who runs a lot on Path of Magic. Now we got all our stuff back. Nice. Let's get rid of some of this nonsense. I definitely don't need all of this extra weight that's going to screw me over. What I've learned is that when you're running, the worst thing you can do is run predictably forward or predictably back. So you see how right now I'm running directly forward? If you do that, an enemy's gonna hit you in the back with an arrow. You have to always move in diagonals, make sense? So like if you always run like this, then when enemies shoot you with arrows, they're almost always gonna miss. Whereas if you just move forward, you're not gonna get that benefit. And when they shoot you with an arrow, you're gonna get shot, right? And so if you see me like staying alive when you feel like I shouldn't be, that's often what I'm doing. Like I've spent a lot of time running away from huge groups of monsters in Valheim. I've learned that like as long as you keep your distance, you only have to pay attention to the ranged monsters, and you can learn how to move in a way where they're gonna usually miss you. So then even if you don't know exactly where the monster is behind you, you can move in a way that's gonna throw off its ranged attacks. Makes sense? So that is a strategy I use a lot here to stay alive. And this honestly looks pretty good. I had some bad luck last time because I got wrecked by the entangles. But this time I haven't even gotten entangled once. You don't even know what I'm talking about. It's worked perfectly. I also was wrecked before because the bubble blocking wasn't reliable. Meaning I would get bubble blocks not every time I expected to. Which obviously is not ideal, right? So here, let's see. Alright, I got a potion. I'm gonna take advantage of that. Alright, you, Mr. Fallen Valkyrie, you can go away. You can go away. See, this is the part where, alright, if I can outrun the Valkyrie, I'll be alright. But there's multiple Valkyrie, so there's a high chance that I'm going to get entangled. 2-star Valkyrie? Come on. Is that really necessary? Come on, use your spinny attack and let me run away. Just let me run away. Come on. It's not that hard. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Yeah, it looks like once they use that attack once, they stay still long enough that if I run away in that moment, I can escape their aggro radius. But if I try and just run away from them, there is no running away. They're too fast. Oh god, I should pay attention. Yeah, no, this is getting problematic. Something hit me. Double Valkyrie. I don't like these odds. I don't like any of this. I don't like this. You can go away, Valkyrie. You can go away. Along with your friends, all of your friends. Please take all of your friends somewhere else. I would appreciate it if you left me alone and you stopped bringing other Valkyries to the party. That would be great. Why don't you bring more of these vultures? They look like more your style, huh? Oh my gosh. This is absolutely terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. And I'm still gonna get to a part of the path. That's right. There's one part of the path that literally will destroy me. No, stay up there. No, I did such a good job of avoiding you. Come on. Let me go. All right, I think I can do this. I need my stamina potion. And now I need to escape. Maybe he'll get stuck under the bridge. I think it's all right. These odds aren't so bad. At least he sets himself on fire. That makes it a little bit easier, because technically he'll eventually die. And yeah, just to be clear, Constantine asked earlier if I'm running back or forward. And I'm running forward. I'm basically crossing the entirety of the Ashlands sky path. One, to show off like how you can use different mechanics to stay alive and get buffs and all that kind of thing. But also to play test it, because this area should be so dangerous that it basically handles itself progression-wise. Oh gosh, I don't like that at all. No, I do not like this. Calm down, Miss Valkyrie. Because what I've learned about Valheim progression, it's very challenging to keep players sort of in the same areas, if that makes sense, and to manage their progression. Especially if they're joining on different characters. And I want Path of Magic to work that way, right? Like, I want it to be... Oof. Oh, this is so bad. This is so bad. This is so bad. I want it to be joinable on different characters, right? Oh my god. And the problem with that is that different characters have completely different progression, right? So that... Oh no, this is the problem. See, I got entangled and now I don't have any... Oh, this is so bad. This is so bad. This is so bad. Oh my god. No, no, no. Oh, honestly, that was pretty good. I got pretty far there. Not bad. Not bad. So basically, what was I saying? I was very distracted by the intensity of that situation. So I didn't have a long rested buff there, which is probably how I effed everything up. Let me make sure I get a rested buff. I don't even know if I left with one, to be honest, which was very, very silly on my part. And I've been using all health food. I think I'm alright with that, because it's not so much that I don't have stamina, it's that the stamina I have doesn't regenerate very quickly, right? So let's see, if I actually get a rested buff, should make this easier. Although, I also might completely fail. You know, at this point, I've just made a game out of trying to do this. And I remember what I was talking about. I was talking about progressing down a path. And that basically what I found is that people, in order to have a server where people are able to join at different progression levels, and the server be okay, and people have okay experiences, like... You have to change a lot about how base Valheim functions in order to do that. So there's a bunch of things that I've changed. How did I manage to unequip my tower shield? Whatever. But let's get into some of the things that need to be done for that to happen. Because normally, Valheim servers are very temporary. I mean, like, excessively temporary. Before I get started ranting, let me make sure I can get this first bubble shield. I need, like, a weak, non-starred enemy that isn't explosive. That's too much to... Okay, 2-starred, not good. 1-starred Twitcher, maybe. Oh, he missed me. This summon Twitcher might work. That Morgan, though, I'm not about that. Thank you, summon Twitcher. All right, I'm off now. All right. I got the advantage of not having a tower shield and being slow, but also the disadvantage of the fact that I don't have a tower shield, so I don't get that buff. I also should have grabbed some tasty meat. That would have been smart. Did that Dverger just shoot a tree down? That's pretty cool. But in normal Valheim, it's very hard to create a persistent server, because generally Valheim is made so that players get sort of stuck together with their progression, and once a world has progressed, that very world is unfriendly to new players. So, like, the vanilla Valheim experience is unforgiving when a new person joins later on in the playthrough. And most often, that just doesn't even happen in the first place. Because people have that association that they can't do it because they've missed out on things, right? So we had to change a lot of things to make it so that a server can handle different people in different gear, sometimes endgame gear, joining the server and it being okay. And the path and the difficulty of the server plays a fundamental role in that, because it almost creates this automatic balancing effect of sorts that occurs. This effect where you can keep trying to go down the path, but let's say you're doing what I'm doing and you're just trying to run down as fast as possible. It's a game in itself, right? You can't just spawn, you know, you can't just come in on really strong endgame gear and then just run to the end of the path and everything be fine. Like, you're gonna die. And that helps keep the server more balanced. It's like, you have to figure out how you can answer the question, how can the server kill a fully endgame geared player while maintaining some level of fairness to a brand newbie player? Yeah? Easier said than done, right? This time I learned my lesson, though. I'm gonna get that Corpse Run buff. When I came earlier here, I did a dry run. Whoa, how did you do that, Mr. Morgan? Did you do that? Did you see that? Uh-oh. As soon as I saw that attack, I was like, oh god, I lost my bubble. I was trying to block, but I didn't have the tower shield anymore. That Morgan. Did you see the way he literally jumped in the way of the bridge? That was funny. All right, so I made a flame metal tower shield earlier. I probably need to make another one. Let's see, because I'm not sure I can actually make it there if I can't survive a normal hit from a normal mob and get a bubble. Because in that case, that's how I died, basically. I lost my bubble, and then I was like, oh no! Once you lose your bubble, you're in a lot of trouble. I don't know. Do we have enough for a shield? Hey, we do. Awesome. Tower shield. Okay, cool. That works. I'll just make another one. Yan, yeah. So it's actually, I'm playtesting something. So as Yan says, 3 health foods, criminal. And that is also how I felt. Because I'm used to Valheim and playing like a stamina build, basically, because it's so powerful. You get so much movement and versatility by using more stamina food. So what's normal in Valheim is to pretty much stop using health food as much. The game itself doesn't do a good job of making using 3 health foods worth it. But in Path of Magic, your bubble block shield is determined by your ability to survive 1 hit. So the higher your health, the more easily you get a bubble shield. So in Palm, there is actual incentive to use multiple health foods because you can more easily keep the bubble up that way. Whereas if you lose the bubble, as you saw earlier, you die like immediately. The bubble is everything. As players say, you use, or no, what is it? What do they say? Yeah, live and die by the bubble. That's a Palm motto. So Yannick says 3? No, 2 health food, 1 stamina if melee build, or range builds, 2 or 3 stamina foods. But yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying, Yan. There is no viable 3 health food build in your head, right? And that's what I'm talking about. That's a vanilla Valheim thing. And it's because Valheim, especially in the hard difficulties, doesn't effectively reward you having more health. Makes sense? Because you can't, like, survive longer because of it. You don't get a practical thing more because you have more health at the expense of stamina, at the expense of Eater at the end of the game, where Eater and stamina are the most powerful options. So the fact that people don't use 3 health foods as much, from my perspective, is a symptom of unbalance. Makes sense? So that's the thing. And like, that's what I'm trying to explain to you, yeah. It's Palm specific that using 3 health foods is useful. Because when you have more health, you can survive that first hit. If you don't survive that first hit, you don't get the bubble. So in Palm, your health quantity combined with your block armor and your block skill, so to speak, is what determines if you survive that first hit. So if I had more armor and empowered stuff and better skills, I would be able to survive a hit from a 2-star mob and use it to get a bubble shield. But because I don't, I cannot get a bubble shield from even like a 1-star mob. Make sense? And that's, again, like, keep in mind that on Path of Magic, there's over 3,600 changes. There are a huge quantity of adjusted and altered mechanics. So a lot of it is about learning why maybe what you originally did was good in normal Valheim, but there's tons of different reasons for things in Path of Magic, right? And in this case, for example, like, I am not... Okay, this is a constant thing in the way that I play. But I play to play test and experience things. You will very, very rarely see me using the most viable, best strategy. You will very rarely see me preparing perfectly, getting everything that I need, making sure I have every mead and the best possible potion available to me. Because doing so puts me in a position where I am no longer effectively playtesting. I am now doing proper total preparation, which is not something that most average players have the experience to go for. Make sense? I find it to be a more useful playtesting experience when I do things more nonchalantly, more brutishly, more recklessly. This is how I get a better sense for what the experience is like for more average players. And it also helps me kind of gauge how the path is functioning. So as I was mentioning earlier, the path itself is the progression on Palm. you should be able to join on a pre-existing character that you've played before that's very powerful and simply travel down the path, and by doing so, find the natural place in the path that meets your comfort levels, the combat you want, etc., etc. Make sense? All right, let's see. I'm going to try and actually lose this Valkyrie instead of bringing her the whole way. And I can do that just by paying attention. Because when they teleport, they forget about you for a moment. So you can use that to escape from the Valkyrie. And that's true for all the mobs. If you've noticed, mobs on Path of Magic, when they use a ranged attack, there's like this green animation thing, and then they teleport to where they shot. And that just spices things up. But it also gives the player certain advantages once they learn how to work with it. Because every time the mob teleports, they're going to sort of forget where you are. And you can use that to then get a crit on them, or to run away from them. So it's another one of those like mechanical things. I've found that one of the ways you can add depth to your server is by having not necessarily like completely hidden mechanics, but by having a lot of different mechanics. You make it so that people get this sort of level of enjoyment from learning different things that they can do on the server, which is something that typically people don't get to experience because they just play Valheim and they know how Valheim works, and then there's no more surprises, right? So anything you can do that keeps things interesting and keeps them feeling like, I still have more to learn, that helps increase the immersion and keep people invested in coming back to the server. Because as long as you have a couple people coming back to the server, it creates a loop where other people will see there's other people on the server, and then they'll feel more immersed simply for that reason. The most immersion-breaking experience on a Valheim server is to see that nobody's there. That is the single most damaging thing that can happen. So there's a couple ways that can occur. A player could join and see that no one's online. Maybe that'll occur. However, it's not necessarily that simple, because let's say the player joins, they see nobody's online, but they see that there's an extra bed in the base that they've been working on. They see that someone has eaten food from the inn and added a diverger there to trade with. Or they've left some kind of note, right? Like, these little interactions go a long way to making players feel immersed. But also the opposite can happen. The player can join, let's say nobody's online, okay, that's going to break their immersion. Especially if the player joins, nobody's online, and there is no discernible difference in the world since they last joined. That is the most immersion-breaking thing that can occur on a Valheim server. Even seeing other players cheat or break rules is not as immersion-breaking as joining what you perceive as a dead server. Once you start believing that, you start thinking nobody's here, your immersion gets absolutely wrecked, right? And that's an important thing to keep in mind, because if you care about these things, you need to understand the player's psychology, and it's more about player psychology than it is about Valheim and like players' skills. I think that's one of the reasons I enjoy it so much personally. So here I'm gonna try and not make the same mistakes I made before. And I gotta dodge a little bit here. So that was an entangle, as you saw, and you can get past entangles by dodging out of them. Why isn't this guy meleeing me though? Okay, whatever, I'm just gonna run. I don't like the idea of getting a bubble block from a fallen Valkyrie, but I don't know if I have a choice. Spinny attack? Can you just melee me, please? What? Wait, what? 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 I have no idea how that happened. Like, I have absolutely no idea how that occurred. I'm very genuinely confused right now, but I'm just gonna roll with it. I'm just gonna keep going. What was that about? How did... Wait, what? Why did it disappear? It was about to make that attack, and then it just vanished. How did that even happen? I genuinely don't understand. Alright, I see all those sparkles. Was this the area that the Morgan jumped me? I feel like it was kind of close to here. What's this little building? Cute. Alright. I don't have a bubble is the problem. But these are summoned Twitchers. Ugh. Yeah, this is the moment. Do I see? Let's see. Oh, a normal warrior. Okay. I think I can survive a hit from a summoned Twitcher, but I don't know, to be honest. Ooh. Yeah, you see that? I couldn't get that bubble without having 3 health foods. You see how I have 23 health left? Like that's what I was trying to explain earlier. To get the bubble, you have to survive. So you have to be holding block down, but also you have to survive that first hit. So in general, it's much easier to stay alive through the bubble shield when you have a lot of health. And again, this is like not my normal playstyle. My normal playstyle would be like Fenring and stamina. And that's why I have this philosophy basically, because I'm like, well, if I can make this work, if I can have fun playing this way, right? If I can do this, then it's probably pretty balanced. Because I tend to not play that way. I'm not an experienced heavy armor player, etc., etc. So sometimes I try and playtest things against myself, if that makes sense. If I know something I don't like, I figure, well, if I can get it to a point where I like it, it's probably pretty balanced because I don't enjoy those things in the first place, right? But also I have to be careful because maybe in doing so, I destroy the thing that made other people enjoy it in the first place, right? And that's where playtesting comes in. So now I'll take a moment. I can catch up on some comments now that I finished my rant, and I don't seem to be oh, Constantine, come on, man. Like, have you not figured it out? Like, I don't play properly. Like, you can keep making comments in these things, but you're gonna endlessly find things to comment about. Why am I not doing this? Why am I not doing that? Why didn't I do this? Why, you know, you're gonna get tired of it. I'm just warning you. Like, I play to play test and have experiences, not to be most efficient. I've found that trying to be efficient is a fantastic way to ruin the enjoyment in games. And in our modern era, there is a lot of this nonsense of feeling that, oh, you have to play efficiently, otherwise you're not playing. Like, who are we kidding? We're playing video games. We're not, like, saving the world. We're not doing our, like, job. We're not running our careers. We are playing games to have fun. Why the hell are people so convinced that you have to be so effective and do everything the best possible way? I don't know about you, but when I act that way, I suffer. I don't have fun. It becomes miserable, if that makes sense. It's not an enjoyable experience. And that's just how it is. You know, especially now, like, there's so much information people can look up, right? That you can just look up anything you ever wanted to learn about a game, and you'll be able to find something about it, right? You can find the answers to things. You can make your min-max strategy, so to speak. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, the Skug teleported. Calm down. Let me go. Okay. Terrifying. I lost my bubble already? Will this vulture kill me? He did kill me. That bastard. Or maybe I got hit by something else. I don't know, to be honest. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes with how chaotic it is. But now I can look at your comment. So earlier, let's see. Yeah, Constantine said, drop the locksmith. Why don't you have a belt? Well, I am currently, if you haven't noticed, on a character that is purely for the sake of playtesting this run and making live streams out of it where I can talk about palm mechanics. I don't know if you've noticed, but this isn't Lab Rat. I'm not playing on a progression character. That's why I don't have a belt. That's why I don't give a shit about anything I loot. That's why I'm just running blindly into my death over and over and over again. Make sense? So earlier, the others were talking about food. Constantine started with, starting from the plains, I always have 1 health food, 1 spell power, or SP food. What is stamina point, I guess? Yeah, 1 health point, 1 stamina point food, and 1 eater food. Or 2 feasts plus 1 eater food. And I guess this is something that's funny to me. Like, why does it matter so much to people what foods others are using? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you genuinely, like, when you suggest something to me, for example, are you trying to help me by telling me where to go? You know what I mean? I'm gonna help myself right now and realize I just ran out without a rested bonus. It's just, I learned my lesson. Some mistakes I can make multiple times, but other mistakes, nah, they're too miserable. And it's totally fine, by the way. You guys can tell me what to do. It's not a problem. I just think it's kind of funny. Like, I don't know. I just don't understand personally. Like, when I see someone play, I don't feel compelled to tell them what they're doing wrong because I don't feel that I know what they're trying to do. I assume that people are having fun playing a game. Therefore, what they're doing, I don't know what the best way to do it is because I'm not them, right? Like, so that's my attitude personally. I may ask somebody why they don't do something, but I don't feel that compulsion to tell them what to do. And I don't really understand why other people behave that way. Like I get it. Okay, in this case, for example, if someone had said, oh, you're not rested, that's a very freaking useful piece of advice to give me in this situation. Like, very genuinely useful. You're gonna save me a lot of suffering and pain. But commenting on something I'm doing when, like, you don't understand the context of what I'm doing, I don't know. It seems kind of like for me, if I made a comment like that, I would feel like, oh, I am acting like I know better than the other person what they want. I mean, that's the insinuation, right? Because I'm saying, like, I know this thing, right? And it just seems kind of, I don't know. I guess that's the thing about live streaming, though. It's, you get people do the backseat gaming thing, I guess that's what it's called. Come on, I'm trying to catch one of these rocks without catching that Morgan. You can do it, buddy. Ah. These guys are really bad throws. Thank you. That took forever. It's like playing baseball, I swear. Alright, and then back to the food thing. So the others were talking about the optimal foods they like to use. And, yeah, maybe this isn't a hot take or something, but I just don't enjoy games as much when I always do things the same way. Like, even, okay, let's talk about old school RuneScape, for example. I play old school RuneScape, and that is a perfect example of a game that is fucking miserable if you just min-max and do everything perfectly. Like, okay, you gotta join, and then because everything uses agility and stamina, you gotta get the graceful gear, because otherwise you're not being effective, and you gotta do this, and then you gotta spend, like, 2 weeks doing Winterthal and not doing anything else, because it's the most effective way to level up your skills, and it's all fucking bullshit. Like, it's a game. Have fun. That's it. Like, it's not that hard. We suffer so much that we manage to take the joy out of the things that we do purely for joy. Like, I know people aren't making money off of these things. They're not, and even if they are, like, I don't know, like, why is everyone acting like their life is so busy that they have to save as much time as possible so that they have more time to then be efficient and save as much time as possible so that they have more time to then... You see what I'm saying? Like, where does it end? How can you find joy in life when you always do things in the way that you perceive as the most effective? If anything, it's boring as all hell. It's so boring to be just like everybody else, using the same builds that other people have shown to be effective. It's lame. It sucks. RuneScape is a fantastic example of that, because you can join that game and get so lost into the whole min-maxing, doing everything perfectly scene, that it just becomes a complete grind fest, right? But then I also know from personal experience that RuneScape is incredibly fun, and it's really cool to try like different strategies that don't make sense, that aren't like mainstream and viable. Like, for example, in my case, done a lot of barrows in RuneScape, right? And you can go and look at the barrows areas in RuneScape and see how people handle it. And they handle it pretty much in the same strategies. You just watch people, they're in pretty much the same gear, doing the same things over and over and over again. 10 of them, 20 of them, a lot of them are bots, even when they're not. Players do the same things, they look at guides, copy-paste the same strategies, and it makes games really boring. It's not fun to just copy-paste the same thing that everyone else is doing. Like, it really just isn't. Maybe it is for other people, but it's more fun to try different things and develop something and discover something new. I'd say most people would agree that it is more fun to like try out your own builds and set up your own situation. Like, most people will enjoy that more than just copy pasting some random build. You know what I mean? But they feel like they have to copy and paste the build because otherwise they're not viable. They're not doing the most effective. You know, it's like, it's such nonsense. Like, in all honesty, just absolute nonsense. Uh-oh. I don't like it when I lose my bubble. I don't like it when I lose my bubble. I don't like it at all. Can I survive a hit from a summoned Twitcher? Not a 2-starred summoned Twitcher, no thank you. I might actually be able to be honest. Twitchers are weak, and the charred Twitchers, or the summoned Twitchers, are the weakest Ashlands mob. So I might have been able to, but I'm not gonna test that luck. I'm just gonna keep in mind. How do I die? I die from Fallen Valkyrie entangling me, and also from losing my bubble block, and also from losing my rested bonus. All of these things. So there we go. Now, Constantine had another question here. By the way, JP, can you give an insight on the best way to find ambers and necklaces? Necklaces are probably mostly in mountain frost caves. I think that's the best source of them. I don't remember. Necklaces are basically the gate to empowering on Path of Magic. There's a whole other tangent to go on at some point. And then as for amber, probably just a regular burial chamber or a sunken crypt. One of them, they both have loads of amber, to be honest, because they spawn as pickables inside the dungeons, and they also get swapped for the yellow mushrooms as well. So I would guess, I don't know with absolute certainty, but I would guess that the best place to find amber is either a burial chamber or a sunken crypt. Because again, on Palm, the dungeons are different. They have way more resources. There's all these different adjustments to them. They look the same, but they're deeper and they have different things in them, basically. But the reason people want silver necklaces, because I mean, normally Valheim players don't care about silver necklaces, right? And this is another example of sort of like on your server when you're developing things, and even if you're just developing like a game and you're not running a server, what you need to think about are the rewards for players. Specifically, the more abstract rewards tend to work better. So in this case, for example, we're talking about a player's asking about where they can get amber and silver necklaces. So that may be confusing to a normal person, like a normal Valheim player. Why would you want to get amber and silver necklaces? Like, why, right? Is there any reason? It's just something you get, and then you can sell them to Halder for money. But once you have the belt, and you've bought a chicken egg, do you care about Halder? Like, is there anything he has? And I'm glad that Iron Gate has learned from this, because you can tell because of how they handled the Bog Witch. All of their other traders are like one-off things you'll only do once and never really need to do again. It's very, very temporary, right? Whereas the Bog Witch is full of things that are consumable, that you need to purchase, and really powerful potions that help a lot with quality of life and all sorts of other things. So it's really cool from my perspective to see how Iron Gate very clearly learned, and that now that they've done the Bog Witch update, they added a lot of different things. They added sinks, item sinks, reasons to buy things with coins on multiple occasions. What? Like, that is the good stuff right there. That's what Valheim needs more of. More consumable sinks for coins. And what I was trying to get at is that anytime you add any kind of abstract mechanism, in this case, the empowering system, you can create a whole new demand for specific kinds of items. So that's why on Path of Magic, people care about silver necklaces. Because you need silver necklaces in order to empower things, in order to make stronger gear. Each attempt requires 2 silver necklaces. And that creates a demand. And in general, I've found that things work better on a server when you use mechanics to create demand or abstract things instead of something more obvious. Ooh, that was close, very close. Okay, I just have to make this hit without getting hit. Oh, I did get hit. Okay, I still survived the bubble block though. Dang, that was nefarious. All right, let's run away from them a little bit. The staircases are the worst. They're the worst contenders. Now I'll catch up on Yannick's comment here. So Yannick says, I use the headlamps a lot for building here. They make a great spotlight. And yeah, that's a good trick. I'm not sure a lot of players are aware of that. That's actually happening here. I don't know if you noticed, but these this path has like headlights built into it. Let me see if I can find one. Yeah, they're like right there. So it's clipped, so you can't really see it. But the path itself is lit. So at night, it's a little bit easier to see the character. But what Yannick is talking about is that you can buy the Diverger head lanterns. And this is a good point, Yannick, because I think it's like when a builder cares about using head lanterns as lights, it's an awesome coin sink because each one is like 600 coins, right? So that costs a lot of money to buy a huge quantity of them. And unfortunately, most people don't really care that much. So it doesn't end up getting used. But good point, because I hadn't even thought about that. When I talked about Halder and like why people care about him. But that item is awesome, and it is very cool to use it as a spotlight. It's a very unique point light that isn't really available. All of the other lights in Valheim are like, they don't look at a specific area, right? They like cover a general region, right? Like the campfire, for example, it handles things, it lights things around itself. Whereas the light that Yan is talking about is more like a flashlight. It lights things in a cone in front of itself. Yeah? Alright, Mrs. Valkyrie. Who are you? Are you... they get distracted probably by a Dverger, I would assume. Huh. Yeah, and the barrel hoops. That's a good one, too. I consider that part of the Bogwitch update, even though it's sold by Halder, because it came out in Bogwitch, and that marks the turning point where Iron Gate realized, like, okay, we need more consumables. We need more sinks for coins in the game. So they literally added, like, the Bogwitch update made there be coin sinks. Whereas before, there were really only coin sinks in pretty niche situations. Like if a builder cares about that kind of light, then it's a great coin sink. Oh, I'm not lighting. I'm not looting that. Screw it. I've learned from past experiences. Yeah, corpse run is nice, but I'll just get distracted and die, and that's worse than getting corpse run. They also seem to get distracted by something. No, I just had a flashback to that Valkyrie disappearing. What on earth made that happen? That was so weird, because that can happen to Death Skeeto on purpose, right? Like, they can attack you and then disappear. But I never added that to the Valkyrie. So I have no idea why that Valkyrie literally vanished the moment it tried to attack. Especially when all the other Valkyrie did not vanish when they tried to attack. Like, I can't even fathom what went wrong to make that happen. Normally I can imagine, like, oh, okay, there's a typo somewhere in that system that I was working on, and if that's wrong and that doesn't work, this other part could interact and cause this to happen. But in this case, I have no idea what would make a fallen Valkyrie just disappear. Like, unless it happened to be the one... No, there's nothing that removes fallen Valkyrie. I don't get it. I'm at a loss, to be honest. I don't know. I do know that now I'm at the point of the path where, alright, I've traveled a bit better. And I'm going to run out of my rested bonus soon. At which point, it begs the question, well, why don't I have a hammer to make a campfire? And also, why can't I just rest above lava? I mean, I feel like lava is a campfire. If a campfire helps me rest, why can't I just sit right here? You know what I'm saying? Shouldn't I get a rested buff? I'm above the warm lava. This is a big campfire. I'm pretty safe, but nothing. Seems kind of silly to me. Hey. All right. Okay, so I vaguely remember this area. I vaguely remember being chased by a bunch of monsters, going off this path a little bit, and then having to figure something out. Was that right ahead? Yes, it's right here. Okay. As you can see, there's little parts of the path where you can sort of get lost. Hey, those guys have some range. Okay. How am I going to do this? This time, I am going to try and loot my body. Whoa, but I have an inventory full of Gralston. I see. What a problem. Oh god. I don't like this. Come back here, body. Thank you. Okay. Whew. Alright, I should be good now. I can probably outrun this, whatever. I should take advantage. Can he melee me? Melee me! Ah, what a pain. I should just screw it. I'm just gonna try and outrun him. I probably can, because now I have corpse run, so for 23 seconds, it's as if I haven't lost my rested buff. But that is imminently about to end, right? But now, look at this. I have a hammer. That's one step closer. One step closer. Oh, I even have some wood. Oh, you know what this means? Oh, no way. No. I don't have any stone. God damn it. What do I do? There is no getting off of the path, is there? does not appear so. I don't have enough coins to buy anything. Is there any reasonable way for me to acquire stone here? I don't think so, to be honest. Oh, come on. I have to be like genuinely more careful now because I won't be able to just outrun things very simply. And I'm hoping this will work. Anyway, while I'm waiting, I'll take a moment. Welcome, Hilly, by the way. Hello, hello. It's good to see you again. Awesome. Thanks for everybody who's been watching. I've been very lucky to be able to just stream at this time and have people who will, you know, watch and listen to me babble about things. So Hilly says, having the permanent warm fire buff while being in the Ashlands would be a huge buff. Yeah, it would be. That's probably why they don't do it, right? Because it would make you have more stamina and stuff. But I mean, come on, this place looks pretty warm. Those skeletons are walking in lava. Like, that's as warm as it gets. You know what I'm saying? I should try that at some point. I could make it so when players do anything in the Ashlands, they get the warm buff. Actually, I don't know if I can. Is that one of those buffs that vanishes straight away? I don't remember. Alright, I'm going to take advantage of this moment. Oh, that didn't work. Yeah, he saw me. Alright, Mr. Valkyrie. Oh, okay. You entangled me, huh? Oh. Entangles are brutal. Basically, you get the immobilized effect from the traps. I have a strong feeling I'm gonna die. My gut is telling me I'm about to die. I don't like that second Valkyrie. Oh, but the first one isn't behind me anymore. Maybe my gut proved me wrong. Oh, I wish I could save. I've been playing so many older games that I just had the instinct I need to save because I've been playing Fallout and like Daggerfall, which are very much games you have to save constantly in, but there is no saving me. I'm too far gone. Now, what I want are I just want some stone. That's it. Just a little bit of stone. But how do I get stone here? You know what I'm saying? Maybe these Diverger will help me out. I know how to get Growlston. Oh, wait. I know. I can trade Growlston to a Diverger for some stone. But I need like... now I need the Growlston that I threw down earlier. Freaking classic, right? Absolute classic. Let's see, we got a little bit of Ashwood. Anything I can sell to them? Not really. But these guys, they're the key. I just need some stone so I can get arrested buff. I can't get arrested buff from a normal fire, can I? Probably doesn't last long enough. How do I do this? I don't have any basic tools. So I can't. Hey! Wait, where is there? There's a chest somewhere near here that has stone? Okay, whatever. I'm just gonna accept it. I'm not in a position to be a beggar right now. I just want this rested buff, please. Please, nobody kill me. It's actually quite an odd moment of respite here. I must have gotten lucky in these Diverger. They must have killed what other monsters were here. Because I specifically remember coming down this staircase and then messing around with the bubble block, and I thought I died like right here earlier. But maybe not. I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. But at this point, we're very, very close, to be honest. I think it's going to be alright. I don't want to take a hit from that warrior. I want to take a hit from this guy. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, at this point, I mean, in all honesty, okay, I made one mistake, though. I need this stone. I need to be smart here. I don't know where the stone pile is, but there's like 50 stone in a chest somewhere nearby. And I have now taken it. Oh, no, no, 2-star Aspen, you can leave me alone, buddy. You can go. Have a good day. Go chase someone else. I remember you. I remember dying here dramatically on the first attempt, or one of the earlier ones, to an Aspen. A very similar looking Aspen. But I feel better about this. To be honest, we've made it. I don't want to eat my words, but we might actually make it to the end. And okay, it's not even to the end of the path. The path goes all the way through the Ashlands. So it's not like it ends at Fader or something. No, no, no. There's a whole other thing I've been trying to show off. And it looks like I might get there. Because now there's just one more obstacle. And it's the part of the bridge that is completely destroyed. I don't remember exactly where it is. But one of these places is literally, like, once you pass it, it's one way. Like, you're not going back. Right? And I think I'm almost to that point in the path. I will say though, so one of the reasons I've been doing this is because I haven't actually been in Ashlands that much. Because I've been doing a lot of dev stuff, and then when Ashlands came out, I experienced it. I did like the vanilla no map, no portals thing. And then I was like, fuck this. This is horrible. I don't want this to be what the server's about. Basically. And so that's why there's like paths in the Ashlands, because the Ashlands is violent enough that it does a pretty good job of like hurting players and being chaotic. But it feels like it's so violent and intense that it takes away from itself. That's my gut feeling about the Ashlands. So that's why I set up the Sky Path and also added this path, so that players have ways that they can have Ashlands experiences without the absurdity that is vanilla no map, no portal Ashlands. Like, that's not, I don't know, I don't personally view it as a good experience. More of an absolute cluster. It's like an attrition war. I'm all for the server attriting players. Absolutely, I think that attrition is a really important part of motivating players to keep playing. They need to like have many different things to do, and attriting them in a balanced way is very, very important, especially when you're going for like long-term immersion in a server. And what do I mean when I say attriting? I get this vague feeling right now that I turned around. I don't know if that's true, but I'll know for sure if I find part of the path that has a giant log covering it. But when I say attrition, I mean that attrition is when the player has to continuously get things, basically. And like, too much attrition would mean that the player feels burdened by the fact that like they have to keep remaking things because it gets destroyed. Whereas too little attrition would mean that the player feels like there's no reason to get anything because you only need something once and then you never ever need it again. Why do these vultures, they like, their aim is bad enough that they don't hit me like 3/4 of the time. Like, what is up with this? It's kind of funny. Let's see. Glenn Royd says, I don't think it's possible to enjoy the Ashlands. You have to be 100% focused for every second you're out there. Yes. Yeah, I agree. And honestly, that's why it's set up this way on Path of Magic. Because at first people got pissed at me. Like, there are some players who like did not like that I bypassed progression. Because on Path of Magic, you can just walk to the Ashlands. Like, you see what I'm doing? I didn't kill the queen. I'm just here in some gear, and I used what people had in the base from before to make some stuff. Like, anybody can join and do this, right? So, from a logical perspective, oh, that invalidates the entirety of the Ashlands progression. Because now the progression item is meaningless, because players can, blah, whatever. The reality is, like, Ashlands kind of needed some work, right? And don't get me wrong, the assets themselves, here's how I look at it. Iron Gate is great at making assets and making the game world. They are great at making the sandbox and the building blocks. That's their strength. When it comes to implementing things and figuring out how those things can be used, it's a little bit more complicated. That's something Iron Gate isn't necessarily so strong at, right? There's a lot of things that they think are really important that I would argue maybe don't matter at all, right? But I have the luxury of playing the game that they have made and being able to playtest it, whereas they had to make things for the very first time. They had to make it not having something that they can just look at, right? So it was a lot harder in that sense. They had more of a problem to deal with. So for me right now, I'm just going to accept this. So I want to get more into Glenroyd's comment, though, because I think he's right about that. In that the Ashlands itself, it's missing something. And I want to explain, based on my experiences in running the server, what it is exactly that the Ashlands is missing. Because it's not some big thing. It's a tiny thing. And that is safety. Yeah, good point, Constantine. So I was thinking about the rested buff, but then there was that charred warrior. And I don't actually have any way to fight anything at the moment. But I'm okay, and there's those Diverger, so... Oops. What am I doing wrong? Sit. Thank you. So, what I want to get at is that this thing that is, so to speak, missing from the Ashlands is safety. That's it. There's no safety in the Ashlands at all whatsoever. And that isn't beneficial. In a game, danger is not useful if it's constant. The player needs to have some mechanism to retreat from the danger into relative safety. They must have that. If they don't, you do! Sorry, I just geeked out. You know what this means? Wrong one. We did it! We did it! You see how the format's different? Now it looks like this? This is the end of the Ashlands path. We finally made it to the end! I did it! Oh my god, that feels so satisfying. Like, I know that probably doesn't make any sense to you, because it just looks like more of the same path. But you'll see. I remember because the way I built this path, so it had a different format. And this is the end. So now we're finally on the part of the path that I'm trying to show the true end game of Path of Magic. There's stuff after Ashlands. But to get back to Glenroyd's comment, okay, what I was trying to explain is that the Ashlands itself, forget about players for a second, just think about the mobs, the area, the ambiance, the ruins, the resources, the building materials, the weapons, the armor sets. Like, they did a fucking incredible job. There's so much here. So many different weapons, so many different ways to, like, customize the weapon to make it be a different variant of itself. Like, Ashlands added loads of different weapons, 3 different armor sets, different capes with useful practical buffs. It's incredible. Content-wise, asset-wise, the Ashlands has been amazing. However, then factor it from a player's perspective, And it's not so amazing anymore because they don't have the safety. And that's the thing that I'm trying to get at. That's the thing that is missing from vanilla Ashlands. It needs more safety to retreat into so that the players can feel the danger properly. Because danger alone is not viable. Danger alone does not make for a more immersive world. You need a combination of danger and security, safety that the player can access. This is absolutely critical. Without that safety, the player can't healthily experience the danger, which makes it not be effective as an immersion element. And instead, it becomes the opposite. It becomes an element that breaks immersion. And that's why I fundamentally believe that the only thing Ashlands is missing is safety. And that's why this path exists, to give players a safer way to travel. You can get a sense for the Ashlands and look at the assets, explore it from up above. You need to keep your eye out for certain monsters, but for the most part, you're relatively safe up here. And that allows people to get more Ashlands experiences without all of the hardcoreness of it. And I've just found that the Ashlands itself is so intense and hardcore that it is self-limiting. You don't need to try and stop players from going there. There's not much benefit. In fact, my philosophy on Path of Magic is bring the Ashlands to the players. Instead of trying to get the players to stop staying in the Black Forest and to leave and go explore the further biomes, what if I just accept that there are players who will never leave the Black Forest? How do these players experience the Ashlands? Well, in vanilla they can't. They would only want to come here to get building resources, right? So, something to think about. Let's see, Glenn Royd says, guess the spooling is on your end, not on mine. Spooling. I'm not sure. Oh, sorry, you're talking about latency issues. Yeah, I see now that my internet is crashing early today. It is only 5:30. That is a solid 30 minutes before the normal cutoff. I basically live in an area where there isn't enough bandwidth, so things get cut off and when all the businesses start. But it looks like this is probably just like a temporary hiccup kind of thing. I'm not sure, but I'm assuming by spooling you meant that the... Is that a Zhao? Huh. Interesting. I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, I'll explain in a second. Here, one second. You might not be able to hear me. There we go. Yeah, and so I have a lot of internet issues basically, and that's why I have to stream at this time, because the internet reliably crashes at 6 p.m. or 6 a.m. my time. But I can tell now looking at OBS that it shows the rate that it broadcasts at, and it needs to be above like 1,500 to be all right. And it's been at like 700 or 1,200. But it actually works out pretty well because this is the beginning of the rest. So why don't I take that as a sign, and I'll end this live stream for today. And that way, in the next live stream, I can focus completely on showing off the true end game of Path of Magic, which I wanted to do in the beginning. I just very egotistically thought that I could make it all the way to this part of the server, which was not possible. So thanks for watching, everybody. I will see you tomorrow. And I have some tutorials coming out about some really interesting trade shelves. So check out the YouTube channel for that. And I hope that you have a good day. Unfortunately, I have to end. I can see that this is just how it is. I have to start streaming very early. And I've been streaming for an hour and 20 minutes. That's not so bad. All right, everybody. I hope you do well. I feel like saying I love you and thank you for watching, which apparently means I feel very supported by all of you. So, thank you, because I didn't feel that compulsion to say that before, and now I do. So, yeah, I love you all. Thank you for entertaining me and listening to me and allowing me to do something